I got.
Look, I've gotten back into it in the Peloton on the daily.
Yes, indeed. All right. Are we up and running?
We getting there. We getting there.
We getting there. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Man.
Yes,
Man, we had a time last night. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Look, we are right back at you with another episode of In Brotherly Love. And let me tell you something, we had a time. I mean, we just survived the elections, the primary elections for the state of Maryland. We're dealing with the Squeegie Boys. You know I'm not going to do a show without talking about the Squeegie Boys. I want all y'all to come on in the room. Let's populate. Let's get up in here. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. Did the election turn out the way you expected? Is it going the way you want it to go? Are you happy about it? Are you sad about it? Are you disappointed? Are you glad? Like, what's going on, people? Come on in this room. We want to talk this evening. We're going to have a conversation about the Squeegie Kids. Are y'all tired of the Squeegie Kids? Are you concerned about violence in the city of Baltimore? Are you concerned about violence within this squeegee industry? What can the city do to improve relations with the Squeegie Kids and our youth throughout the city, throughout the state, really? We're going to talk about it. And then we have to deal with the Squeegie murder, where the young man is accused. He's 14-year-old. A 14-year-old child is being charged as an adult after being attacked by a 6'2", almost 300-pound man wielding a bat with bad intentions. Fortunately or unfortunately, at the time of the events, the child had a handgun on his person. And you know what happened. You heard it on the news. You read it in the paper. We all know what happened. The 6'2" Goliath came tumbling down with one smooth projectile, perhaps four. So we want to talk about that this evening. So y'all come on in, let's populate. We're going to talk about all these issues. We're going to talk about the election. My dear friend, Marilyn Mosby, struggling to survive. And I don't know if the election's been called yet. She gave it a good run, gave it all she had. We're proud of you, Marilyn. I'm going to tell you something. We're proud of your fight. We're proud of the guts that you had to stand up to people who other people wouldn't and probably won't stand up to. We'll have to see in the future. We have to start to rally around our people who are going to be in office and continue to rally around those who are currently serving us to ensure that we can create a more perfect union, as they say. So let's get on in here. We're going to talk about a plethora of things. As Jason would say sometimes, a plethora or a myriad of things this evening. So come on in here. My name is J. Wendell Gordon. I'm a dad, HBCU grad from Morgan State University, the baddest, the boldest, and you know this. Born in DC, raised in Maryland, so I'm a DMV man. When I die, DMV raised, put me in a DMV grave. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right.
We only got one person for next because my big bro's out doing daddy duty once and again, so he's not here this evening. So I think me and little bro, we're gonna hold it down this evening.
We're gonna rock out, baby. This is the baby of the bunch. Jason, that's the voice Gordon. A graduate of the best HBCU known to man, always in the top 2, and we ain't number 2. None other than the home of your MVP, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, the Mecca, Howard University. I am an HBCU dad. I am a HBCU grad. I am a husband. I am a father. I am a son. I am an uncle. And I'm a brother to this gentleman and the other one who's in Hampton. Y'all got me last week because I couldn't log in. You know what I'm saying? I was on vacay, but I thank all of y'all that stopped by our post and sent a reaction. We're glad that you guys came and checked in with us. So we're right back at you again this week. And it's a lot of stuff to talk about. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff to talk about.
And while we're on here, in the absence of our older brother, shout out to Hampton University, that third tier college, far below the Mason-Dixon line. let's jump right into it. Jason, man, what did you think about the elections, man? Keenan didn't work out, did he?
So as of right now, it's not looking too good.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been called yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he needs to. It's some movement needs to take place. But I haven't given up hope that movement can still take place. We're looking at a couple of other races, like we're looking at, brother Ron Watson is getting tight boots.
Yeah.
That's one that's tight boots too.
But he's a noob, and Negroes under pressure excel. So I'm expecting him to excel in this situation. It's some pressure now.
It's some pressure.
But he can overcome it.
I believe that he's going to overcome. Wes Moore, I think, is going to pull this thing out. I think he shocked the world.
Yeah,
I think he shocked the world.
The world. Look, we saw it coming first.
We did. We did.
First, look, and I tried to hedge a little bit because Monique Anderson Walker is from Fort Washington. We all up together in the same neighborhood. So to that extent, we knew Monique Anderson Walker, plus she stayed down there and she sat on the city council down there. But look, we were West from day one, and we never got off that train. We never got off of it. And look, so I'm just happy for the brother. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm just happy for the brother, and I'm so pleased that he got the support that he did. But there's another round because we got the clown out there from the East.
Oh my God! And the thing is
you know what we're gonna do, but you remember 50% of white women voted for Donald Trump, and I imagine that with him getting 100,000 some odd votes, that's most of the Republican Party voted for that clown. So,
and actually they had about 200,000 votes total, but
that's 50%. That's 50%.
So now the biggest piece is that you got to hope that that people don't jump off the Franco train and jump onto that train. So that is a key component right there. But I believe that Wes has the personality, he has the charisma, he has the ability to relate. He surprisingly did very well across the state.
Yeah, he did.
He did very well across the state. Granted, the places out west, which really don't carry a whole lot of demographic, did go towards Franco, which is kind of what I expected. Right. But everything else kind of played itself out the way that I thought it would. He literally carried the DMV corridor. He carried the 95 corridor. West did. He carried it from Fort Washington all the way up to whatever the last zone is.
They were cranking in Fort Washington, man. When I went home to visit mom and dad, man, all you see up and down Fort Washington Road with Westmore signs, and I'm like, damn, this is where Monique actually lives. Like, where the Monique signs?
Oh, look, let me tell you. And
but I noticed that. I mean, his team was superb, man. I'm telling you.
But not just that. So I noticed that Franco signs started to disappear too. And why they started, because the Franco signs were kind of similar to the Westmore signs on 202. And they were kind of, at one point, they were back and forth. It was like Franco, and it was Westmore had the first line on 202. And then I noticed that Franco started putting his signs in between the Westmore signs. And then I think they saw that it became, I think their color scheme was kind of similar. And maybe Franco saw that maybe this wasn't the best idea. To try to do that, and they pulled their signs, because they were literally every other sign, and I was like, it was like 1 week is every other sign, and then the next week the Franco signs are gone.
It's interesting that you say that, because around that 202 corridor they be wrecking over these signs, and I ain't even talking about some what do you call it? Now, I'm talking about literally wrecking over signs. So I'm not even surprised, man. That 202, them Landover hustlers on the scene. Always mean when you walking down 202, you better watch out for them and the Landover hustler crew, because over signage, I'm telling you. And it's always been like that for at least for the last, since I've been tracking elections, for the last maybe decade or something. You always hear about somebody pulling signs, almost getting into a fight. I mean, it's crazy over there in that corridor. So I wouldn't be surprised if signs were coming down and getting put back up and this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, Wes Moore, shout out to him, hats off to him, because he really did a yeoman's job in putting his campaign together and putting people in place to promote him. And he's a fresh face with charisma.
Yes.
But there's still more work to be done. And what I'd like to see is, once he wins the gubernatorial nomination, I'd like to see Francho and Monique and everybody else wrap their support around this man so we can do something.
So we can push him over the finish line, yeah.
For sure. And Wes Moore came to our show, people.
He did. Go look.
Yeah, he came to our show. You can couple shows back. You can look at us and look and see what we did. He was here. Another one who had a good night, Anthony Brown.
Yes, Anthony Brown did have a good night.
Katie O'Malley's, but I'm like, golly, I was happy about that.
I was about to say that felt personal.
Yeah, well, it's not personal, but she was on the bench. I don't know if she's going to return to the bench. Quite frankly, I hope she finds something else to do. You know what I mean? Because it made me nervous just to think that she would occupy the Attorney General's space as the lead attorney for the state of Maryland, and not to make it personal, but put it this way: she's a district court judge, and we request jury trials when we see her on the bench.
Okay.
A jury trial totally what's the word? Takes jurisdiction away from the district court judge. Once you pay a jury trial, the district court has no further jurisdiction over your.
All they can do is call balls and strikes.
They can't even do that. Once you say jury trial, you out of there. She's got no further jurisdiction. So when I see her, we and I'm not alone in that. And only those who either don't care or don't know stay in there and have their cases tried.
Okay.
From my personal experience, I'm gonna put it on me.
It's all good. You can do that. You're the bad guy.
For her to think of her being in the Attorney General's slot and having to, be in charge with investigating police shootings and things of that nature, I just did not feel comfortable with that. So I'm glad that Maryland showed out, and voted for the person who I think will best be suited for that office. So I'm happy about that.
Hey man, you kind of left me hanging. Like, I'm not familiar with what's going on in Baltimore, but what happened up there, bro? Like, you kind of were. It felt like you were alluding to something.
What's that?
When you were talking about Mosby, man.
Yeah. Mosby. We're prayerful, but I'm not certain. We're gonna have to have her on the show though, because I just want people to hear about who she really is as a person, how caring, dynamic, positive, powerful, bold, bodacious, whatever adjective you can think of that's good, that's what she is. And I really wanted to introduce her to our viewing audience before the election, but time would not permit in her schedule. She was just getting pulled so many different places at so many different times that we couldn't have her on here. But hopefully one day soon, we'll have to have her on there, because she still is the state's attorney. Like, she didn't, even no matter what happens in this election, she's going to be in office until November. And we have some issues going on here in Baltimore that really needs her to take a look at. And I'm not going to try to put pressure on her one way or another, but Maryland, we need to do something for that young Squeegie Kid. Now, we need to do something for him. But anyway, you need to do something. I'm serious. Like, you don't charge no 14-year-old with first-degree murder when the 48-year-old man's going after him with a baseball bat, a metal baseball bat at that. So we're gonna get into that. But what else happened in the election last night? Get into that.
My man Tim Adams, he came up short.
Yeah.
So the one thing I can say about he came up short. He did well though. He did well. But he right now he's about 100,000 down.
Yeah.
But the one thing I can say is that when it came to because you know where my wife works, when I drove down that corridor,
he was there. His presence was felt.
But when I drove down that corridor down on the Eastern Shore, his presence, I couldn't see his presence though.
Right. I saw one or two signs because I happened to be down there.
Yeah.
No, I was down there.
Yep.
I saw one or two signs. Yeah. His reach didn't make it that far.
And I think that he would have, and this is just my opinion, would have been better served at least to go to Easton, because Easton is one of those melting pots where I think he could have garnered some support. And if he would have garnered some support there, it would have spread out this more of the Eastern Shore. But his presence just wasn't felt out there. But we still rolling with you, Tim. You know what I'm saying?
With you, brother.
Still rolling with you.
Look, he's still the mayor of Bowie. He's still the mayor of Bowie. I don't think he had to give up that seat because he goes up for re-election in 2 more years.
Okay.
So you know, he didn't lose a whole lot. He didn't lose a whole lot, and that's why I imagine that's why he did it, just to stick his foot in and see what would happen. Well, we know what happened, so you know, shout out to Tim Adams anyway for even adding the race and giving it a good shot. You know what I mean? What happened really was our black elected officials didn't get behind them, either because they had made previous commitments to Brooke Learman, or they just didn't get behind him. He was on Brooke Learman were on a lot of black senatorial tickets, a lot of them. In fact, there were few. I don't even know how. I'm not even certain if Tim Adams made his way on any significant tickets.
He did not. I didn't see. Yeah,
I'm not sure if he did.
Outside of yours, I mean, yours was.
You know, we always got the Gordon slate, and
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Every 2 years, you know. So if whatever you don't know, and I want to hear what happened to Malik. How did Malik make out? Malik Shakur, who's running for circuit court.
Sure. Actually, I can look real quick.
Yeah,
I wasn't very familiar with that race. I did see it in the Washington Post. But that was actually pretty tight too, because that one wasn't called yet either.
Yeah, what's going on with it?
Let me give me one quick second. But yeah, we're still looking to get some more of the results together.
Right, that's what I want to see, because
let's see, election, where is it? Boom, boom, boom. Yada yada yada. Let's see,
unofficial, man, this is way too much to go down.
Yeah, and then Prince George's County is at the bottom.
Man, that's too much. Can somebody tell us how Malik Shakur, circuit court judge for Prince George's County? There were 3 on the ticket, only 1 could win. There was Cordair, there was Malik Shakur, and there was Rhonda Wood.
Monica, I am not sure what happened there. I see your question. He's running second right now. It's Cordair is 1, Shakur is 2, and he's actually, that's it. It's 100% of the precincts.
Cordair made it out of that.
Cordair won by 1.4.
Shucks. I didn't anticipate. I didn't think that. But
part of your issue, well, if you look at it in terms of,
probably was on everybody. She's a sitting judge, so she was appointed by the governor.
Okay.
But there were folks in Prince George's County,
and I think maybe we just had a lot of competition and we split our votes up. So in having all of that competition, it definitely split the vote.
Yeah.
So you got like Shakur had 24.9. Andrea Smith had 17.4. Brandon Burrell had 16.8. He got 12,000 votes, and Rhonda Woods got 11,000.
So what did Cordair get?
Cordair got 19,000 total.
Man, they shouldn't. Well, okay.
Yeah, the votes were split.
Okay.
So it was split up.
Okay. All right.
Noticing that Walla Blagay looks like she pulled that one out.
Yeah, they said that she was gonna. They said the Africans are strong in Prince George's County. I did not.
They are. And their money, man. Man, let me tell you something. Hanging out with my wife and in this doctor circle, brother. African money is long, brother.
And I knew they had money, but I didn't know they were here. I thought they were in Montgomery County. I didn't know that George's County in this deep in Prince George's County where they decide outcomes.
Yeah. But, like that. So actually, if I think back to even some of the conversations I was telling you about, like that development over in Bowie.
Yeah.
And like, but I have students, man, these kids, Man, these kids walking around this joint with $1,000 shoes on, bro.
Well,
Yeah, they had the ability to go the distance.
Well, she did it. She pulled it out, and shout out to Walla Blagage, good friend of mine, dear friend of mine as well. So congratulations to her. And who were the other two out there? So it was Walla and
There's Walla. She won District 6. Denise finished second. She was about 3.2 behind her.
Well, that's a good look because that was one of ours.
Yep. So she finished about 3.2.
Okay, that's good.
Ingrid Harrison should win that. She's up by 20-something, 29%.
I ain't even worried about Ingrid Harrison. She gonna be straight.
Ed Burrows beat down Tony Knox.
Well, he always does, though.
Yeah.
I think Ed Burrows is part of the establishment ticket. I think Tony Knox, even though Tony Knox used to be a representative, council person. So it's Ed Burrows' council, right? Yeah.
Yep, he's county council now.
Yeah, Tony Knox used to be back in the day, but whatever happened.
Yeah. Glenn Ivy. Glenn Ivy is up on Glenn Ivy beat Donna Edwards.
But anybody surprised by that? I don't think anybody was surprised by that.
Okay.
Yeah,
it was one of those contentious joints.
Was it contentious?
Man, they started dropping bad, man. They asked the last 2 weeks.
What were they saying?
Man, they was going smack at, like, they were accusing Glenn Ivy of being GOP controlled, like he was lobbying for the GOP. They was like he helped Trump. they was going smack at it. The last 2 weeks it got greasy.
How did she say he helped Trump though?
Because when he left when he left office before, he didn't work for a lobbying firm apparently.
Yeah.
And they were like he was lobbying for GOP candidates.
Ooh.
So they tried to tie him. They tried to tie him arm in arm with them, boy. It was getting greasy.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, what was that? Malik. She said Malik did not win. The incumbent was endorsed by Alsa Brooks. So Kader was endorsed by Alsa Brooks. Okay. Say Kader was at the Westmore rally and hit the crowd hard. The rally at Allen Pond.
Oh, that was just last weekend.
Yeah. So Manika, thank you. Manika is our she is one of our regular viewers.
Wow.
Yes, but she is a political who was letting us. Now she's kind of getting us hip.
I just heard all these stories because, to be honest with you, Cordair, I didn't have an issue with Cordair. I heard all these stories from colleagues who I trust and who I have, professional relationships or collegial relationships with.
Right.
Some very disturbing stories. And so I was like, okay, well, that's something to really consider. And so that's why I was actually pushing either Wood or Shakur, because I know their stock. I know where they came from. Wood went to law school with me, and Shakur, I know him from just beating the ground up there at the courthouse of Prince George's County. I know his stock, and good brother, good sister. But Cordair, the stories that I heard disturbed me greatly. So that's why I went out there. So hopefully she can prove me wrong. A lot of them end up proving me right, but we'll deal with those issues as they arise on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Who else we had out there? C. Anthony Muse. C. Anthony Muse
he's up right now. It's tight. He was running for senator, correct?
Yeah.
It's tight. Hold on, where is it? I just saw it. That's what, District 20.
That's us, 26.
Let's see. That's delegates.
No, he's senator.
No. I had to go. I'm clicking past it. So right now he is up by 1.1 over Tamara Brown.
No, Tamara, and I know Tamara too. Look,
and there's 66% that have been counted. So they've got a bunch of mail-ins that they're expecting.
Don't be surprised if I'm down there helping them count votes when all this is over. I'm just giving y'all just the. I'm being an augury. I think that's the word, augury. Augury. Somebody look that up, make sure I'm using it correctly. But anyway, yeah, so it's just so much going on. It's an exciting time because I feel like we're on the precipice of change right here.
Uh-huh.
I feel like Maryland is going to turn over a new leaf, at least in some respect. We're either going to have a Black male as governor or we're going to have a Black female as lieutenant governor. Either way, things are going to change. Even if Perez won, we still have a Black female as lieutenant governor. And those are the top three who are vying for the gubernatorial position. So something's going to change, and we just have to see exactly what it is, and be proud. And whoever wins in these top positions, I think we need to rally around them. Be sure to call them to the carpet when it's time to call them to the carpet. If they make dumb or boneheaded decisions, we got to call them out on it. You know what I mean? If they make good decisions or they're doing something that we support, we have to let them know we support them. If we need to go to Annapolis to help them get some of their legislation passed or whatever we need to do that. We just can't be sitting at home and hoping that those we put in office, we just let them go to office and do their thing. No, we got to check on all them jokers down there, because all of them can get persuaded by the glitz and the glamour and the baubles and the trinkets and everything that comes with being in public office. So we need to make sure that they understand that they are there for us. They're not there for themselves, and we're not there for them. They are there for us.
Correct.
That's my word. Now, y'all heard about it.
Talk about it.
Y'all heard about it. I know y'all heard about it up here in Baltimore. I heard the news went all the way down to Washington, D.C. Did y'all hear about it down in D.C.?
Oh yeah, we got it down here.
Okay.
I knew it was going on with the Squeegee boys.
Yeah. So I got a client. Well, let me tell you how it all started, because everybody said, well, I'll tell you how'd you get the case? If y'all saw me on Facebook, y'all kind of know how I got the case. I campaigned for the case. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I was very disturbed and frankly very upset when I heard that some 48-year-old man thought it would be okay
to get out of his car,
pocket 8 lanes of traffic away from where he intended to walk to, pop the trunk, pull out a metal bat, walk across 8 lanes of traffic to assault some kids who were doing nothing more than spraying windshields. Now look here, I'm not particularly a fan of the Squeegie Kids. I'm gonna tell you a short story because I think it's funny, but it's a very true story. Okay, I'm on my way to work, and some of y'all know me, some of y'all don't. I drive a nice European car, okay? And so I'm coming up just almost near the intersection where this occurred. I'm coming off 395, going to make a right on Conway Street in my nice European car, okay? And there are the Squeegee boys. They're there every day at that time. They were there every day. Just, can I wash your window? Can you wash your window? Nah. So this particular Squeegee boy came up to me, squirted my windshield first, and then asked me, could he wash it? It's like, no, man, you can't wash the windshield. So he said, okay. And he said, well, you ain't have to say it like that. I said, man, you squirt my windshield, like you didn't give me a chance. She said, you ain't have to say no like that. So he took his little squeegee, and it had soap on it. And he drew a dick and some balls on my front windshield, man. On my nice car, he drew a dick and balls on my windshield, man. I'm not lying to you. I swear to God, man. I was mad as hell, man. I'm telling you. The joker drew dick and balls on my windshield, Jason.
Yo, that's crazy, son.
Did it, man. And so I was mad as hell. I was so mad, but I drove off, right? I drove off with dick and balls on my windshield, man. Driving to my office, I got soap suds, dick and balls on my windshield.
Now you got dried penis on your windshield.
Yeah, so I'm mad about this. So I called 911. I said, the 911 operator said, how can I help you? I said, one of them Squeegee kids drew a pair of balls and a dick on my windshield. She said, what? I said, he drew dick and balls on my windshield. Then I realized what I was saying. I said, I hung up the phone, went to the office, and just lamented to my secretary about what just happened, man. But all in all, my experiences with the Squeegee Kids has been nothing but positive. Even when I don't have anything to offer them, I give them a well wish, like, you're doing good, keep up the good work. And that would do it for them. If you tell them, if you if you're positive with them and say something good, like you're doing good work, keep up good work. I don't have anything for you today. Keep on doing what you're doing. You're staying out of trouble. We appreciate that. They're like, oh yeah, okay. They like that attaboy stuff. So if you give them an attaboy, it's all good. And in fact, they kind of feed off that as much as they feed off the money that they get off of it. So
that's because I mean, the thing about that is that this generation, and I was, excuse me for cutting you off. The thing is that this generation, they are probably so used to getting negative words spoken over their lives. So it's like the fact that you offer some positive, even when you're just offering positive words, like, look, I don't have anything, but I like the fact that you're out here with a solid hustle. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make a way for yourself. And those can go a long way, you know, for a kid who may be hearing that he ain't gonna be shit all day. Oh, okay. So you know what I'm saying? So like those words, even if you don't have anything to offer but kind words, those kind words can go a long way in making that kid, you know, it could be just as rewarding as you giving them $2 to $3.
Yeah, I feel like it was, because shit, it works like a lucky charm. I ain't gonna lie. Shit, I ain't lying. I roll down my window before you even get to. They see me coming like 100 yards away because they see me. You know what I mean? They be like, okay, can they jump on it? And I'm like, keep on doing what you're doing, brother. We love what you're doing. You staying out of trouble. They're like, all right, yeah, I appreciate that. And we go on about our business.
Hey, thank y'all who are giving the comments. Please continue to let your comments flow, comments, questions, etc. We are still following them. And yeah, we love your interactions, the interactions. We feed off of your interactions. So continue to keep the comments going while y'all are out there. So let's talk about this 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, the 14-year-old. So even when I met with him, okay, I explained to him who I was. He said, oh yeah, I've seen you. I said, you wasn't that one that drew that dick and balls on my windshield, was he? He's like, nah, it wasn't me. Like, we're gonna sell this score right now, right?
like let's just get this out of the way now. We can handle this right now, and then we're gonna move forward.
How you want to go about it, you know what I mean? But anyway, so you know, we have the conversation about the case and everything, and I was getting to why I took the case. So the reason why I took the case is because, again, I was disturbed by, you know, the charges. I was disturbed that people are placing more value on the life of this person who had nothing but bad intentions, who, if it wasn't for his life being taken, he could have and probably had every intention of taking the lives of one of these young people. And so I was very disturbed about that. I was disturbed about the fact that some of our own people were willing to sacrifice this young man or allow him to be taken up and handled without any care about the facts of the case or what the details were or why he did what he did. They just felt so caught up on the fact that it is alleged, because it hasn't been proven and it hasn't even been shown. It is alleged that he was a shooter and he had a gun, and everybody's caught up on the fact that how does a 14-year-old get a gun? Why does a 14-year-old get a gun? Like, who cares? I'm glad he had a gun on that day. On that day, at that point in time in his life, and at no other time, perhaps, I'm glad he had a gun on him that day. If he is the shooter, whoever the shooter is, let me just try it this way.
But yeah,
whoever the shooter is, I'm glad that shooter had a gun on him that day with a man 6'2", wielding a bat on 14-year-old children. To me, it's unmitigated.
So I'm gonna give you a kudo. You know, and I tell you this in private, but you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you in public in front of everybody. These are the types of cases that a lot of people would run from, but these are the types of cases that you oftentimes run to. Like cases where the media has already painted such a negative picture of the accused defendant. And to be honest with you, it was a lot of holes even in the story that I read prior to you even getting on the case. There were holes in the story because nobody said that he was a shooter. They just said he had a gun.
And we don't even know if that's true. We don't know. Because you can't, I saw this little grainy video. I wish I could show it to you all. And if I had more time, could deal with these technology issues, I would show it to you. because the video is garbage. Let me see if I can email it to myself and show it to y'all. And don't get excited because I might not be successful in doing so. But yeah, man, the video is garbage. It doesn't really show anything, and we have to rely upon information that is obtained from the scene, and some of it's not going to be very accurate. And so we're left with the fact that we got this young man sitting in the detention center, a juvenile detention center. So he's not in the adult detention center, which is good. We tried to get him a bail. They obviously wouldn't let him out on bail because everybody's afraid of their own shadow. This 14-year-old child, never been in trouble before in his life, was going to school, went to one of the local high schools here in Baltimore, and was going to summer school. And so this was his hustle. He said on a bad day, they make about $95 a day. It's about $3,000 a month. On a good day, they make about $200 a day. It's about $6,000 a month at 14 years old. He has 5 brothers and sisters who he takes care of, because when his mother's working, he's got to provide, he loves to cook. He loves, playing sports. He's just a 14-year-old kid. And so here's this 14-year-old kid now thrust in the position to have to fight for his entire life. At the tender age of 14, he has to fight for his entire life because some asshole decided that it would be okay to park his car all the way across the street, walk 8 lanes over to these children, swinging a bat, and he got the short end of the stick. He wanted to take the law into his own hands, and nobody really talks about him. They want to brush over the fact and not have him held accountable for his actions or not give account for his actions. He wanted to take the law into his own hands, and he figured that he would be doing so good because he's annoyed with the squeegee kids like several other people perhaps in Baltimore City are annoyed with the squeegee people. So he wanted to take it to his own hands after having a bad experience in the past with squeegee kids. Go over there and wield a bat at these kids. And it didn't work out so well for him. And my only regret, if that's a word to say, is that there's been a loss of life, like you said earlier, Jason, that there has been a loss of life and a loss to all of these families involved. But in terms of what this man did to provoke, he chose violence that day. And he had a lot of options in front of him to choose. He could have drove off.
He could have driven off.
Could have reported it to the police. He could have chalked it up like I did and drove down the street for whatever reason. And we don't even know what provoked him to do that. He could have been provoked on sight, just the mere sight of these folks. We don't know. We don't know if someone squirted his windshield and he didn't want to have his windows wide. We don't know what happened because nobody knows. All we know is that this joker got out of his car to go bat some children. And quite frankly, I just don't see any place in our civilized society where that's acceptable. Using a bat is deadly force, and the law says you have the right to meet deadly force with deadly force.
And to be honest with you, it's just like, it just shows that, for lack of a better term, the degradation of society. Mm-hmm. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, to get out of your car and to go over 8 lanes to get at some kids who are genuinely just trying to earn a living. Like, I don't think these kids are going out this joint squirting on your windshield just for the sake of just doo-doo and giggles. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just, the kids are just trying to make a little extra change in the summertime. And you saw it upon yourself to park your vehicle. That's time. Then not only to park your vehicle, but then to go into the trunk of your car, which gives you more time to make another decision.
Right.
Then you have to weave through 8 lanes of traffic, which is another set of decisions that you have to make.
Right.
To now attack some kids. There were a lot of bad decisions made, but most of the bad decisions were made by the adult who got the short end of the stick.
Yeah. And that's what I see. So I had this conversation with a good friend of mine. She happens to be, I don't know, I guess you use the word senior citizen. And she was saying, well, Jay, he had a gun. And I'm like, Miss Senior Citizen, that's what I'm gonna call her, because I don't really want to reveal the name. Say, Miss Senior Citizen, what would have happened if he didn't have that gun? What do you think would have happened if he didn't have that gun? Do you think that he would have been alive, or that that everything would have been okay and so on and so forth, and this man would have got back in his car and drove off to the sunset, what do you think he intended to do with that bat?
I'm gonna even take it to you. I'm gonna give it to you a step further. We don't know if he had the gun. Okay, so
possible because
here's what I'm gonna say. What would have happened if no one had a gun that day? You know, what would have happened to his friends?
Right.
What would have happened to him? What would have happened to, even if he didn't know the other kids that was out there squeegeeing, what would have happened to some other youth?
There you go.
If there was no weapon present? Because look, I'm even going to play defense attorney on this.
They have not chosen. I need to make that clear, and I'm glad you pointed that out. They have not shown that he is the shooter. And so when I say he had a gun, I'm only saying that because that's what their allegation is, not that that's the truth or that's the facts. That's just a mere allegation, because in the statement of probable cause, they said someone pulled out a gun and started firing. They never identified my client in the statement of probable cause as being the shooter. So, you know, we got all this stuff going on, and, you know, at least a whole lot is in question. And I shouldn't say they never identified, but they said, well, witnesses identified them, but they didn't reveal who the witnesses were. So there are a whole lot of questions here. And a lot of times people say things, but they don't follow up, and they don't say them twice, you know. So they say on the street, well, yeah, he did it, or he had it. And he actually could have been the one who actually did it and trying to put it on this kid because they know he's a kid and nothing's going to happen to him. So they could be trying to pin the gun on him. In fact, that's what Miss Senior Citizen said to me. She said, I don't believe that young 14-year-old shot that man. I believe that he's taking a charge from somebody else. And I said, you know what? Anything is possible. Anything could be true, because quite frankly, what I've seen and what I've heard and what I've read, I'm not convinced either. You know what I mean? So I'll see what the state has and let them prove to us. And if it turns out that he did have the gun, we can deal with that too. So no matter how you want to go about it, we can deal with it either way. But at the end of the day, I do not feel as though he should be charged with first-degree murder. There was no premeditated intent, deliberate intent,
or malice
to kill anyone. This man, these kids out there, they were scared. They were all scared. They were all running for their lives because this man meant no good for these children. And to do it in broad daylight, like what is your problem? Like, what are you listening to on the radio? What are you listening to at home? Who's telling you that this is okay behavior to display as no?
And that's part of the issue. Part of the issue is in his mind, he felt like what he did was justified. And I mean, granted, we won't know why he felt justification now. You know, the unfortunate circumstances state that we'll never know what he felt his justification was. But it's still, as the adult, that was a bad decision. And it was several bad decisions by the adult in this case. So granted, just like you know, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna brag on you one more again. Just like in the case of the burned baby mama, I think that once the facts of the case come out, I think that it's not as open and shut as the news and the media is portraying it.
No, you're right. In fact, they try to ride off that momentum into the sunset to relieve them of their duty and responsibility to put on evidence beyond reasonable doubt. But I will say this, because people always ask the question, but the 14-year-old, whoever it was, and if it was him, he had a gun, and why does he have a gun? If he did have a gun, why does he have a gun at 14 years old? I'm saying if he has a gun, fine. Charge him for the gun. You know, we got gun laws on the books. I think maximum penalty is like 5 years. Charge him for the gun, no problem. But to charge him for, you know, a first-degree premeditated murder, nah. Even second degree is questionable. But the only reason why he was charged, and I must say this so our viewing audience understands, the only reason they charged him with first-degree murder because that was the only charge that could have him placed in adult court as opposed to juvenile court. Second-degree murder, voluntary manslaughter, or involuntary manslaughter, he would have to automatically start in juvenile court. But they wanted to make a spectacle out of this, And so they charged him.
See, that's that bull crap of overcharging.
That is exactly
That's that bull crap.
So even if he goes to adult court and gets convicted of voluntary manslaughter, you're looking at 15 years or more, 10 years, and then 5 years for handgun possession in the commission of a crime of violence. You're looking at all that stuff.
And now you've ruined a child's life. And you not only have you ruined his life, but you ruined his trajectory.
There you go.
And you ruined his trajectory. And I mean, granted,
that one count, because they knew second degree murder, even if you said second degree murder or voluntary manslaughter, and they would never do that to their own. They would never do that to their own. We do that to our own, but they would never do that to their own. They would give their own a fair shake. And I'm hopeful that my client will get a fair shake. I'm hopeful that he'll get a fair shake. But anything under first degree murder, you probably can resolve it, because I don't care what it is. If it goes to juvenile court, even if they chose to detain him, they can only detain him until he's 21 years old. So I don't care what it is. But while he's being detained, he's getting services, wraparound services. He's getting,
and you can rehabilitate.
Get him rehabilitated so he can come back out and be a more productive young man, young child than he is today. So it's a dirty game, man. This law stuff is a dirty game, and sometimes they use their powers, rather severely when it's unnecessary. I mean, I don't know anyone in this world, if someone came after you with a bat and you happen to have a gun on you, you think you're supposed to wait until he actually hits you with the bat before you pull the gun out? Okay.
That is a legitimate threat.
Hit by a bat, like it's a one-hit rule. Like you gotta get your head knocked off before you can defend yourself. And both of you all are armed with deadly force. And then I was like, okay, yeah, he had the gun. I say, but if you think that it's far worse that he had the gun than it is for this man to do what he did to these children, then you place a greater value on that man's life than you place on this young boy's life. You place a greater value on his life, because he was my client, or anybody who was out there, no matter who it was, they were fighting for their lives. This man was fighting because he's a bully.
Pretty much. Say that.
He's a straight up bully. And he had gotten away with that type of behavior in the past, because that's not a first occasion. He just didn't decide at that time to act like a cold fool. He's been doing that for a while. I guarantee you that's not the type of behavior that happens in the vacuum. You just say, on this day, one of these squeegee boys, I'm just going to take him out this day. That's something that he felt as though he had the right to do. He felt he was doing the Lord's work, knowing him. he probably felt he was doing a community service.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Look, there's so much more that I want to say, but I ain't finna say it. But yeah, he probably felt that he was justified in making the moves that he made, and
or knew that there wouldn't be any serious consequences as a result of it. And never in a million years did he feel as though his life would be taken, but he had no problems taking another person's life. None whatsoever.
Because a bat can definitely end somebody's life.
A bat is deadly force. And you talk about the duty to retreat, because in Maryland, there's a duty to retreat when you're using deadly force to defend yourself. And I understand that, but he's out there in a busy highway. There's a curb behind him. He don't know if he tripped over that curb, he'd be battered to death. So if he took one step, half a step, minor step, I don't care what it was, then he satisfied that duty as far as I'm concerned. Because there was a lot of danger out in that highway, in addition to this man chasing full speed, who's much stronger, perhaps faster, and more motivated to do harm than this young man was to do harm to him. So there you go.
Across a busy highway. A busy highway with cars going in both directions. Like this was just not a good idea at all.
It's beyond a good idea. This was malice. If you want to talk about premeditation, you want to talk about malice, a forethought, you want to talk about all the elements that make up first degree murder, this man possessed it. This 48-year-old man possessed all of those attributes.
And I don't think that they had charged him with attempted murder.
Nope, they probably would have charged him with second degree murder, and he would have said he was defending himself in voluntary manslaughter. Meanwhile, we have a 14-year-old child whose life has been snuffed out simply while he was at work trying to make some money so he could take care of himself over the summer and perhaps his siblings. And it's sad, man. No matter how you look at it, it's sad. and my heart goes out to this young man still, and I'm so glad that we're still having conversations about it and haven't forgotten about it, and feel the need to actually have to discuss it even on this podcast, because people really need to understand you got to fight for your kids, man.
Yeah,
different. You can't let these people do whatever they want to do to your kids just because you feel as though the kid may have exercised some poor judgment somewhere down the line.
but
imagine if you were a kid and you're looking
but you're sitting here and you're talking about a kid with poor judgment. It's a kid. Yeah. Kids have poor judgment.
Exactly. And people are like, well, he had this, I mean, they just can't get over that. And I'm like, y'all, if I was a child and this is what I'm hearing when my life has been placed in danger, and this is the type of speak that I'm getting from adults,
yeah,
I'd be hardened too. I would be hardened, because you've completely forsaken this 14-year-old child. You completely abandoned him and leaving him out in the wilderness on his own to fend for himself. And I just say, not on my watch. Yep. Not on my watch. God granted me the gift to possess a certain skill set to be able to speak up for these young people, not only in the streets, in the court of public opinion, but also in the court of law. And that's what I'm gonna use my gift to do. I'm gonna use my gift just for that. And that's why I did it. And that's why I do it.
Again, that is very commendable. Again, this is what you do. This is what you've always done. You've always stood up for those who've been marginalized, it's sad all the way around, because now you got to look at the lives of all of the people that have been affected by bad decisions made by adults. And that's kind of like, that's almost how I feel, even with the state of education. Like the kids are suffering for bad adult decisions.
Isn't that something?
For bad adult decisions.
And they're so quick to blame the kids. We're so quick to blame the kids, and kids, like you said, are suffering because of bad adult decisions. Man, that's a word right there.
Yeah, man. So, prayers that justice prevails. You know what I'm saying? And that this young man doesn't get unduly ramrodded just because of the fact that you've got a community, not a community, because I don't think the Baltimore community is looking for blood. I think that the political scene is looking for blood, because he is a Baltimore kid. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's a Baltimore kid that's in school. Now he's in school year round, mm-hmm. in an attempt to get out of his circumstances. And summer school ain't cheap. And summer school also ain't easy. And he's doing this on top of, he was a squeegee kid on top of being a summer school student who was literally trying to find a way and make a way to have a better life. And because of an adult bad decision, now he's fighting for his life.
Wow. Just
in an attempt to make a better life. So
that's my closing remark. My closing.
You know what I'm saying? So, going ahead and fight, rumble, young man, rumble for this young man. You feel me? Like, because I just would hate, I hate to see, because we all have said, he's 14. He was 14 at the time.
Right. They keep trying to call him 15 and call him a male. They don't even call him a youth and call him a male, 15-year-old male. They try to dehumanize him and say all those things. He wasn't 15. If you notice in all the news reports and to the listening audience,
he just turned 15.
Yeah, just turned 15. But at the time of these events, he was 14. That's a critical difference in the law, because the law treats the crime differently. The only crime that has him in adult court that he's been charged with is first-degree murder. If they charge the case appropriately, even if you put in second-degree murder, he's in juvenile court. Put in manslaughter, he's in juvenile court. The only one, because they want some consequences. They want him to serve some significant portion of his life in jail. That is more of his life they want him to serve in jail than he actually has served, that he actually has in the community. Because even on one of the less serious charges, he's looking at 15 years. And the more serious, he's looking at everything.
So like now you're looking to put a young man in prison for almost half of his adult life.
Half of his life.
Or half of his life. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, but again, y'all, you got a dream team. You know what I'm saying?
I call it the reality team. That's what I call it.
Hey, man.
Like,
The reality.
Yeah, this is the reality team. And then that's what we going in there as, the reality team. And yeah, I brought Warren in because Warren and I we have the same heart, man. We have the same heart for our people. We feel the same way about these types of cases. We represented Dante Harris, who was a young man accused of running over the Baltimore County police officer and killing her. And we did very well in that case. We didn't win on the mother load, and people think, well, we lost the case. We did lose on the mother load. There's no question about it. But they had him charged with 19 counts. We prevailed on 16 of the 19 counts charged against him because of our efforts. And I'm gonna tell you something. I know we were formidable, and we put up the ultimate challenge. Anytime you see prosecutors, when the jury's about to come out and they over there praying like this, they got their eyes closed tight and their hands like this. I remember it like it was yesterday. They was praying that they won that case. And evidently they prayed a little harder than we did, because they did win on that mother load.
they were sitting there trying to take a young man down.
Yeah. But the bottom line is, we fight, man. That's what we do. That's what we do, and that's what we're gonna do, in this case, to get the results for this young man. And hopefully there will be some way to get him returned to juvenile court so that he can be dealt with appropriately, not in adult court, because that to me is unfair, especially at this time. At this time, it's completely unfair.
Yeah, I believe this one's going to work itself out. This one, I'm kind of, I believe this was going to work itself out. Just like your other mother load joints. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just in dealing with youth on a day-to-day basis. It's granted, youth make bad decisions.
Obviously.
Yeah, they make bad decisions. And I mean, that's because they're learning about life, and just in thinking about the reality of after living in Baltimore City for 10 years and just seeing and interacting with some of the younger kids in my neighborhood, it's a harsh reality growing up in Baltimore City. And a lot of these kids are just trying to find a way to live better and to get out. Yeah. And that's what it appears that this young man was doing, going to summer school, taking additional classes, or even taking a class that he may not have done well in during the school year. It doesn't matter. He was trying to do better.
Exactly.
He was trying to improve his situation. And in trying to improve his situation, it's like now he is sitting here fighting for his life, fighting to make a life, because his life hasn't even really gotten started. Like, he's still under mommy and daddy's care. And then I did see the press conference with the parents, and the parents, I mean, he's blessed to have parents that are concerned. You know what I'm saying? Because his parents did show concern.
Yeah.
So, and he's in one of those situations where, you saw his mother and his father, and that goes a long way, even in Baltimore City, and seeing both parents that are fighting for the life of their child. So I'm just glad that you on, as what they say on, I can't think of the cartoon, but they say Chase is on the case, Gordon is on the case. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that's right.
So I'm just glad that you Paw Patrol. Yeah, I couldn't pull it.
Man. Stuff like that.
Yes, sir. But hold on, what is it saying? Jennifer Green says, you mentioned Dante Harris. Under the circumstances, how is he doing mentally, physically, etc.? Because it's such a sad situation for all involved. So that's what Jennifer Green wants to know.
Yeah. Well, Dante Harris, I haven't spoken to him recently, but he's doing as someone would, having to serve time. I don't think he deserves to be back there for the rest of his life. And there was a motion for reconsideration filed. The judge has 5 years to rule on it, and I expect there'll be some reconsideration of that sentence, because, quite frankly, they're not even supposed to give juveniles life sentences anymore. At least not life without the possibility of parole. So it's a sad situation all the way around. These kids, but these are the kids that I step up for. These are the kids that I fight for, because these are our kids. And it's never as bad as they portray us. Fox they can do a lot of damage. The media can do a lot of damage in every circumstance if that's what they're intent on doing. And they'll have you believing up is down and down is up. You know, just like Malcolm X said, having you hating your people who love you and loving your oppressor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we need to get past that and understand that there's no one far more precious to fight for
Than our youth,
than our young people and our children. If you can't fight for your child, then what type of adult are you? Who are you? Like, what is the meaning of your existence? If you got to fight for something, like you just can't accept everything that they do to you and just hope that they just don't come for you next, because they will come for you. And
at some point or another.
They'll come for some of your loved ones. And it's all because you didn't have the gumption or the courage to fight. So fight for your young people.
Hey, look, actually, no, I'm not gonna let you off the hook that easy, because in terms of these types of fights and having the ability to kind of help these young people reconcile their lives, my mind was drawn to the Fort Washington drag racing case.
Oh yeah.
And there was that young man who you were able to assist. What's he doing with himself now? Because he went on to law school, am I right?
He didn't go to law school, but he ended up being a capper because of me. Because of me, he ended up being a cap. He graduated from Shaw University, got his master's degree, works in finance and banking. He's doing excellent. I'm very proud of him. Tavon Taylor is his name.
Tavon Taylor, yes, sir.
Very proud.
So these are the kids that you're fighting for. Like these are the types of young men who if given a second opportunity, will make the right decisions and will go on and be productive citizens in our society. And this is why we've got to fight for our kids. We can't allow for other people to paint a picture for them before they've had an opportunity to speak for themselves and paint their own picture. Right. So we can't let other people take the paintbrush from us before we're able to paint the picture ourselves. Right. So, we're wishing the best for this young man, hoping, that all ends up well, because like I said, it's a whole lot of, even in the article, it left a whole lot of doubt in my mind. Right. So I'm just hoping that, this young man is able to also get the services that will help him to look at where he is, his surroundings, and even those that he associates with, to make better decisions as far as his associations. But I believe that this young man is going to be fine. He's in capable hands, and that all is going to work out well for his good in the end.
Yep. So shout out to Warren Brown for coming in. When I asked him if he wanted to be a part of it, he said yes. He didn't hesitate at all. And so here we are. We're going back on another one. Look, again, we're going to be right back at you next week with another episode of In Brotherly Love. Thanks for sharing your 7 o'clock hour with us.
Yes, indeed.
Appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. Sometimes we miss the show, but look, we love y'all. And I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of my brothers, we love y'all, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yes, indeed. Hey, Jay Wendell said it all. We appreciate everybody who comes in, gives commentary. If you have any show ideas, don't hesitate to reach out in our DMs. I've had some people reach out to me, and we're definitely going to be in contact with you all. Hey, we're just looking forward to having great, intelligent conversations to give tools you can use, and to also have a little fun by talking a little doo-doo, taking a few sips, hitting a few sticks. And don't forget, save the date, August 27th.
August 27th.
Ain't got nothing better to do. Day party part due. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do it a part 2 in our Baltimore slang. Part 2. So save the date, have your tent, have your chair, bring a bottle, and we're going to have a great time at the estate, baby.
That's right. We got Secret Society coming in. Secret Society band is on deck.
Woo!
We got the live entertainment.
We're going to have a party.
We're going to party for you. We ready to roll. We even got We even got a part of the neighbor's property. The neighbor gonna let us use his property.
That's how gangster is gonna be. Good God Almighty.
Bigger and better. So Jeff, in his absence, he wanted to be here. He's got a son in AAU basketball. They got a game in Hampton, Virginia tonight. Hopefully they win. And happy birthday to nephew Josh. And
happy birthday, happy 16th, nephew.
16. All right. Savage 16. So there you go.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
We'll see y'all later.
All right. Have a good one, folks.